Hello, and happy holidays to you all. I'm Dr. Greg Parsons, and I'm glad you could come to our holiday special. During this session, we'll be looking at the final assignments for week number 8, both the discussion post as well as the final exam. And I also would like to wish you all a happy holiday season, a good break from school, and a great 2014. In fact, maybe I'll see some of you on the flip side. So have a good time, enjoy yourselves, and good luck on the final exam. So let's begin. We have two requirements for this week. We have a discussion post, which is typical, and we have the final exam. And the purpose of this presentation is to make sure that we're clear on both of these requirements. The discussion post requires you to use the www.bls, which stands for Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov website, to look up a occupation you might be interested in and then report on it to the class in your discussion post. When you go to the website, this is the home page, and the easiest way to access different occupations is to simply type up in the search area where I've typed accountants, and then search on that. Kind of cuts down on all the running back and forth to different menus and so on. So if you simply type in some occupation that you're interested in, engineer, financial advisor, whatever, and hit the little spyglass, it will take you to another screen which has a list of all the different places within the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics website, that relates to that particular occupation. Again, it doesn't take you to one specific thing. You now can make the next choice about which information you want to look at. There's different reports, there's news stories, there's all kinds of things here. And this is the whole idea behind this assignment, is to get you into the website itself and then start exploring all the information that's available about a particular occupation that you've chosen. Right? Then your post is going to report on what you've found. So that should be kind of fun. Choose an interesting occupation. Maybe you want to be a cowboy. The second part of the 8-week assignment is the final exam, and this will look a bit familiar because we use the same two case studies for the midterm. We now just have 3 different HR topics to write about. We're going to write mini papers, even a little bit smaller. They're only going to be 2 pages long this time. One mini paper is going to be on the topic of compensation, total compensation, and you're going to be comparing, contrasting, and evaluating Lincoln Electric and Southwest Airlines for their compensation. Likewise, you're going to be comparing Lincoln and Southwest for benefits and services, and Lincoln and Southwest on unionization. Now, they've added a little bit more information here, and we're going to be looking at some of the questions that are given in the textbook related to these case studies. These questions are not at the back of the book with the case studies. The questions are actually in the individual chapters that deal with these topics. So, for example, total compensation has a couple of questions about compensation at Lincoln and Southwest on page 391. So if you turn your book to page 391, you're going to see integration and application, and then it's going to ask you to review the case studies of Lincoln and Southwest and answer the following questions. Compare and contrast the two companies on the objectives of their compensation practices. Compare and contrast on the role of compensation in achieving competitive advantage. Compare and contrast the pay mix and employees' reaction to the pay mix. And then finally, which approach to compensating employees would you prefer? If we turn now to page 431, we'll see some more questions. Compare and contrast the approaches to performance-based pay used at Lincoln and Southwest. Overall, which plan do you think is more effective to apply? And Lincoln Electric is gradually moving toward using a more traditional approach to pay, putting less emphasis on earnings at risk. What strategic objectives would lead the company to conclude that a more traditional approach to pay may be more effective than their current practices? Well, of course, to answer these questions, you're going to have to go into the case studies themselves and highlight and identify the areas in those case studies that discuss the specific topics. And there is information in the case studies. You'll have to look at them carefully, identify the areas that you're interested in for this paper, and use that information to answer these questions. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing because you don't really know, what the company is actually doing. The second topic for your mini paper is benefits and services. And here you go to page 470 to look at the specific questions that you might want to answer in your mini paper. A, what are the objectives of each company's approach to benefits and services? B, how well do the benefits and services packages serve the business objectives and needs of the employees? And again, which package would you prefer if you happen to work at one or the other companies? Could Southwest Airlines adopt the approaches and benefits used at Lincoln Electric? If so, what would be the advantages and disadvantages for Southwest Airlines in using the other approach? Be sure to consider how various stakeholders would be affected by such a change. Your third topic involves unionization, which is actually our topic for week number 7. So you should be fresh in your mind. Compare and contrast Lincoln Electric and Southwest Airlines with regard to the following: views regarding union representation, views of employees regarding union representation, consequences of these views for cooperation and conflict, what changes in the environment or the company might lead Lincoln Electric's employees to become more interested in unionization. Now, these particular questions for all 3 topics are suggestions. You do not have to specifically answer these questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But they're provided to you in order to give you some idea about what you might write in your papers. So, the keys to success for the final exam. Review the case studies. The information in the case studies must be used when you write your papers. Otherwise, you're not going to be using the data that's available to you. Using the websites is fine. Going to outside references is fine. But for the specific type of information regarding these topics, you're going to need to use the case studies because that's where the real details are. Use outside sources if you feel like you need more information. For example, if you would like to find the current status of unionization at both Southwest and Lincoln Electric, you're welcome to go to outside sources and see what the current situation is. Make sure you follow the assignment requirements. As with the midterm exam, you are supposed to write 3 separate mini papers. This time they only need to be 2 pages in length at a minimum. You can always write more. I'm willing to read more if you're willing to write more. Each mini paper will cover one of the 3 topics, and you'll use both companies, Lincoln Electric and Southwest Airlines, to review that topic and compare and contrast and evaluate the approaches, methods, practices used at each company. Make sure that you focus on the assignment. There's enough to do here without bringing in additional things that aren't part of the assignment. I don't need to know a lot about the airline industry. I don't need to know a lot about the state of the economy in general. Basically, what I need you to do is write about the topics that are assigned. And as with the midterm, all 3 mini papers need to be combined as one file. And I want a cover page. Each mini paper should have an introduction and conclusion for that particular topic. Put it all in one file and then submit to Safe Assign as a draft. And then, again, review the results, make changes to bring your percent matching down, and then submit to Safe Assign as a final. Good luck with it. Come back and bring any questions that you have through Ask Questions in the classroom, email me, text message me, give me a phone call. Good luck.